Sorry, it's right before lunch, so we will not try to keep you for long. But the session is obviously, we will talk about entertainment and the impact of AI on entertainment, blending technology and creativity. So welcome everyone. Yeah. This is my first, so pardon me, if I make any mistakes, and thank you so much for having us. So I'll start with the first question, and this is for everyone on the panel. On a personal level, how has AI impacted your work or mindset in the last 1 to 2 years? I'm trying to understand from a day-to-day perspective, how are you using AI both personally and professionally, and how is it impacting your day-to-day work? Please start.
Sure. So I think for sure one of the most profound impact on my personal professional life from AI is the getting creativity, right? So just to share, I'm from AWS, but I'm Amazon.com. Just to share a bit of a story, and Amazon.com itself, obviously we're a tech company. We have millions of Java applications running. To upgrade Java applications, one application typically requires about 50 days. With AI now, coding assistant, it brings it down to 1 hour. So company itself saves about 4,500 developer years. Wow. Talking about massive impact. Personal level, so in Amazon, we do a lot of analytics, right? These days, to do all my research, I rely on Meta. I'm not an influencer, by the way. I'm not paid by Meta. But at home, when I need to do a lot of company research for my meetings, for my memos, I use AI, Meta AI. Even for my wife, right? She has a small business. 2 weeks ago, she was making company we were using Meta AI. My daughter, 11 years old, for her to study for her Cambridge Science checkpoint, she used an application from Amazon called Bedrock. It's free. Anyone can develop applications based on AI for free. And she developed applications to create gamifications of science economy. So it's easy. These days it's easy, anyone can use it. And the gain you get in making yourself interactive is just amazing.
So you're pretty much well integrated with AI right at your family level as well.
Yeah, it's like calculator in this person.
That's wonderful to hear. Thank you so much. It's Nadia, what do you think?
Because it's still January 2025, so the one thing that came to mind on how I use AI is everyone has their fitness goals typically like January, right? So it felt like I have my own personal trainer somehow helping me with my fitness goals. And I've been, obviously not just because I work at Meta, but I've been using Meta AI just because it's there, sitting on my Instagram DM and WhatsApp. But it's able to give me such in-depth, week by week, and also tapering and how I can also improve my cardio capabilities. So what I'm working with my AI right now is a personalized fitness plan, and I have a specific goal that I want to work on this year. This year I want to have a six-pack, so hopefully Meta AI can continuously give me advice on how I can optimize my training schedule and even my nutrition. So it has immense change, because in the past, this kind of advice you have to go to professionals, but now you have access of something that's really personalized to you. So that's really on a personal note of how I use AI to achieve my 2025 goals.
Yeah, I think for us, I think the music industry has always been, embracing new technology ever since, file sharing, and now with a lot of things going on with AI, of course, everything has changed. Fan engagement is changing. The way artists create music is changing. So yeah, it's definitely changing. We embrace it. We embrace the change. We embrace the technology of AI, but we also being very cautious about it around intellectual property. So that's the way that the music industry is seeing it. Personally, like I said, fan engagement, personalized music, that's the one that actually impacted myself as an executive in the music industry. So you enjoy music, AI says help, you cater the right music for the right mood, for the right moment. I think that's the most change that's impacting me personally.
Hi. So for me as a product leader, I think AI has changed the way I do decision making and product development. because now it's a tool and a collaborator for me that helps me to analyze data, produce documents, and help me brainstorm some product solutions. And every time now I see challenges within the company or even my personal life, I use it to see how I can use AI as automation or personalization, both for my company or my team, but also individually, personally, I mostly use it to create itinerary, to go to places as well, travel plans. I think that's very easy now to use AI, especially when you have a toddler. So yeah, that helps a lot.
Thank you so much. So I think now we're at the precipice of technology and the merge of creativity and technology together that specifically in the entertainment industry, every company has a very strong AI vision and an AI strategy, right? Now from each and every one of your companies, I'd like to understand what is the internal AI processes and the external AI products that you kind of are working with right now that you feel are going to take over the next 1 to 2 years of your entire product strategy moving forward?
Sure. I mean, internally, right, we use AI a lot, specifically to increase productivity. But in my honest opinion, that's not exciting part. In AWS, we believe that our mission and charter is to be able to provide access to everyone, every business, every company, no matter large or small, access to tools that they can easily use to build AI-based applications, right? Because that way you democratize access to AI, right? And one of the founding principles of this is that we believe that when we talk about generative AI, at the back of it, the engine is what we call foundational models, right? Your OpenAI, your Llama, and all that. In Amazon, not just AWS, we're a big believer that customers need choices. That you gotta pick the right model to do the right job, right? And that's why for us, being able to provide choices of different foundation models is key. I think one example is Llama, and one is from Nadia. And it's one of the leading foundation models that we provide in our platform. Like we have an example of a hospital, like in Indonesia, the leading private hospital in Indonesia, that uses AWS platform, that's the name of our product, doesn't matter, tools to access Llama to be able to drive optimization in their inventory, especially in their operating room. So these kinds of life-changing use cases for us is key, right? And that's why for us is how are we able to provide the tools for everyone, anyone, to build AI-based applications.
Just to go back to your point with regards to the hospital use case, what kind of an impact are you seeing in that? Do you have any numbers? Do you have, like, in terms of the processes or understanding? How things different right now?
So one of the immediate direct impact of this is obviously revenue, right? Because every optimized inventory leads directly to savings and costs, right? Like, you optimize your inventory means that you don't spend as much, right? I can't share a number, obviously, right? But what's profound about this is that all of this was developed in like 1.5 to 2 months, okay? So they train the models, they can just give everything and launch it. And so we believe, I think the previous panel I'm talking about, failing fast, right? And I think in the world of AI and cloud, we want to be able to make sure that not only that the selections are there, the granularity of the commercial is to a level in which you pay per second, for example, right? Down to the lowest level, so that anyone can experiment. Because when you fail fast, you experiment more. When you experiment more, hopefully you drive innovations.
So now Facebook has been at the forefront of AI, since its inception, right? Right from the overall wall and feed. The product has always been available to every single consumer. But what is the new strategy when it comes to Meta AI, Llama, etc.? And how is it going to impact the entertainment industry, as you feel?
And it's a really interesting question because does anyone still remember when the feed was still in a chronological format? Like it's depending on who posts first, which was like over a decade ago. And then we started introducing personalized content on feed to show exactly what values goes for each and every user, making it super different for everyone. But so that is the beginning of how Meta utilize AI, but it has transformed so much ever since. I think we mentioned it a couple of times that on the consumer end, now we have Meta AI. It can be easily accessible on Instagram, easily accessible on WhatsApp, and like making it free for everyone to access AI assistance. And we have developed a lot of different products for businesses as well. But I think one thing that differentiates Meta in terms of how we use AI, we are part of the open source ecosystem, which means at the back end of Meta AI and every other solution that we build, we're actually using Llama, that's our language modeling, where a lot of developers can access, modify, and use that code, exactly what AWS actually does with Llama. So if, let's say, a developer wants to build a new machine learning and they want to create a more seamless natural language processing, we have been processing a lot of transcription on languages. Like, imagine there are 3.4 billion people use it across the world with so many different languages. So those model is now open source, and different companies can utilize it. In fact, for different NGOs, the access is free. So I think when it comes to Meta, when we build AI, one, we want to make sure that it benefits not only just large enterprise, and the end consumers also benefit, but also later I think we'll discuss on how talent, influencer, creators can also utilize it in a way they can have authentic relationship with their fans. And just lastly, we're building our AI to be multimodal, meaning that the AI will be used across different services that we have, and also even the hardware that we have. So soon enough, this is not even future, like it's available now, your glasses can actually give you advice on like where to go just by asking. So like that's how we're developing the use of AI. And the main thing is all about building technology that helps people to get connected and have a more valuable relationship with each other, like whichever way.
Lovely, thank you. Would you mind just taking 20 seconds explaining multimodal? Because I'm assuming a lot of people in the audience might not understand multimodal, but if you could just help us understand that.
Absolutely. I think in layman's terms, it means that the AI can be used across different platforms. So imagine currently, maybe you can access Meta AI on Instagram, you can access Meta AI on Messenger, you can also access Meta AI later in the smart glasses, the Ray-Ban that we have. So people can ask questions naturally and have feedback straight in, or even with our VR devices like Quest. So the idea is you have a seamless connection across different platforms and how you engage with the AI. So that's like, I don't know.
That's going to have a big impact on gaming.
Absolutely, yes.
But for Warner Music.
Yeah, for us, I think AI is always being used as a creative tool. Locally, we use AI in predicting trend, fan engagement, like Nadia said. I think having that personalized engagement between the artist and the fans, the AI actually learn the behaviors of the artist, and having that engagement with fans. A single artist can have like thousands and thousands of fans. It's so difficult if you manage it directly, right? So AI actually helped that in terms of fan engagements, right? So as a creative tool, you actually use for the benefit of the artist, how they create music, how they create video to support their music, right? For us as a producer, as a music label, you actually look into AI as a predictive of what's the trend coming up. AI can actually be used of identifying which emerging artists will actually have a good trend of making out in the future. So this is actually, it's just a start for us. We haven't gone deep into it, but I think it's something that's gonna be used a lot. And I think globally, we actually have used AI, what we call AI for good, where if you all know, probably one of our biggest artists, Randy Travis, he's from the United States, he's a country singer. He had a stroke about 2 years ago, so he can't sing anymore. So what happened is that Randy is also a songwriter. So he writes his song, but then he can't sing it because he had a stroke, he lost his voice. What happened is that we decided that we're gonna use AI to create Randy's voice by learning all his previous song, compile it, use the voice, and then have another singer sing it, and then embed the previous song with the new singer. So there's a connection between AI and the human voice, thus creating a new track that's from someone that's no longer can sing anymore. So that's the good use of AI. And we keep on trying to have AI developing new music by permission, of course. We're trying to create an awareness that for specific for music, it's IP related, you have to have permission to use it, you have to have permission to actually, from the machine to learn it, but we're actually open for it. So again, it is a creative tool. We're trying, making choice for our artists to actually develop their music and develop their creativity through AI. But again, AI chatbots has always been a big thing for us. One of our artists, Dua Lipa, is actually using it to engage with her fans because she knows that it is important to engage with your fans, but also have that personalized connection. I think that's the most important thing.
Ratih.
Hi. So I think as a number one OTT in Indonesia, Vidio has been trying to implement AI in the past few years, and we have like a goal that we need to produce an AI or machine learning initiative every month. And I will actually categorize it into three big buckets, emphasizing what Tri and Anthony actually mentioned about. One is around user experience and understanding users better with the data, and then providing experience that is optimal and personalized for them. This includes content discovery, content creation, and then our search models, and also we actually have a localized subtitle generator. You guys need to try. If you watch Vidio, any anime or K-drama, but put the subtitle as Japanese or Sundanese, it's quite entertaining. And the second bucket or the second category is around this driving business decision and also driving revenue. So we have been using AI a lot for our business prediction, like what Patri mentioned, predicting our churns, predicting our content performance, because we want to know what kind of original series that will work in the future, what kind of genre that will be trending for this year and so on. And then we also use AI a lot for driving revenue through our ads, copying what Meta has been doing for years. But taking a bit further, we actually use AI to recognize scenes that are relevant for brands, and then replace that with or show the ads or show the brands. For example, there's a scene where someone is having hijab, and then all of the Islamic or all of the brands will come there like Warden and so on. So that's driving in business. And lastly, what Anthony mentioned, it's been helping us in business processes and efficiency. It helps us cut time and cut costs as well. And this is the area in content production. While AI has been helping us in creating content and creating clips and highlights, so we have been using it a lot for our sport matches, where you can we produce highlights of the soccer match, for example, 15 minutes or even less after the match has finished. That has been driven by AI a lot. And I want to highlight as well something that Vidio has been working very hard in terms of anti-piracy, and we've been struggling just to, I think Patri is smiling. We've been fighting a lot with anti-piracy, and we've been using AI to actually detect any anomaly from our users and actually block them or use them. And we actually have like an army of anti-piracy team that will help us to tackle those pirates. So that's how Vidio use and implement AI internally and externally.
Lovely. This is the last question. Obviously, it's a little bit more sensitive. AI obviously does come under a lot of scrutiny. AI does obviously come under a lot of scrutiny when it comes specifically to the entertainment industry, right? In publicity as well, in the creative industry. Now, what's the long-term impact do you see? Are you more hopeful? And do you feel like more regulation need to be kept into place when it comes to piracy, when it comes to privacy, when it comes to training on artists' data, etc. So what is your approach over there from a company point of view? Well,
Yeah, so from the developer's perspective, right, the one thing that we always see as job zero is obviously security privacy. So what we meant by that when it comes to the role of AI or generative AI, we make sure that every customer, user, builder, startup, what have you, that starts building AI applications on top of our platform and using large language model, all those large language model will be pulled into customer environment. Right, so the model itself will not be continuously trained back using your data. It's that way. Whatever you build, whatever you develop, stays within your IP. Nothing's sent back to data or anthropic or whatever. That's one. But I think coming back to your second question, are we hopeful? Are we skeptical? Absolutely, we're beyond. Instead, it's hopeful, right? The reality is that the ship or the rocket ship of AI, it's already launched. Right? So it's our job to embrace it, to maximize it, and to learn along the way on what needs to be remedied, I guess. But and Amazon, we believe in moving fast, expanding fast.
Maybe in terms of regulations, please. Maybe in terms of regulations.
Yeah.
Calling out AI content and AI content.
Absolutely right. And I think in some of our dialogues with the government, especially with Minister of ICPG, right? You're called PG now, right? We see that we're hopeful, right? That we now have the experts within the regulatory side who try to understand what the private sector is trying to do and to create an ecosystem in which, yes, consumer protection is still priority number one, but at the same time, right, creativity and pushing the boundary is still two certain degree.
I think this is really critical because it's really important that trust needs to be maintained by users, especially at Meta. We have a lot of companies, people, users accessing our content every single day. And if we see the vast improvement of AI, I think our eye couldn't differentiate anymore whether this was like an AI generated content or is it made by like a real content creator. So what's really important is that from a meta perspective, privacy is something that's being thought even before the product is being developed. So processes are made in place to ensure that we go through thorough process, not as an afterthought. And the product that we build needs to fit every country around the world in terms of their regulations. And there's a lot of focus put into that. But number two, we're also playing a role at educating the market. We actually have a lot more transparency, self-claim that this is an AI-generated content. Even when the content is, let's say, edited using an AI video editing tool, right? I have some creators asking me, hey, why is my photo tagged with an AI content? This is not AI content. Well, it was edited with AI. So I think it's really important as well with our content creators to understand that certain modifications and transparency needs to be kept. So that's an area that we are playing in. But what's really critical, I think, to your question, are we hopeful? I'm extremely hopeful because outside of the development of AI, which tech companies are actually building, I think the more important part is the part of the ecosystem that are not tech players. So what about small businesses, right? They're able to scale so much more. I had a conversation with a business that sells madu buat anak-anak gitu ya, and they sell it 100% online. So what they do is they draft all the traffic to go through their WhatsApp to make their purchase. They don't even have like marketplace visibility. And what's really unique when they want to scale, in the beginning they have to add more admin to answer all of the queries. But with AI becoming more democratized, it doesn't even require a tech capability. And the idea is, even a very small business who is run by 2 or 3 people can leverage solution, have a chatbot inside their WhatsApp, for instance, and they can scale their business so much more. So this gives access for a larger economic growth as well. So I'm really, really hopeful that obviously everyone in this room have a lot of privilege working with the best agency partners, working with the largest companies. But hopefully this will also help like the UMKM of Indonesia, right, to be scaled even faster because it doesn't require them any tech skill to leverage all the AIs.
Yeah, I think, like it or not, you have to embrace AI, right? It's coming your way anyway, right? But I think, like I said earlier, we need to be cautious about it. For us, in the music industry, the main factor for us is protecting our artists, protecting their intellectual property, their talent. I think we're happy for fans using music as much as they want, using our music for content creation, for creativity. But when it comes to commercialization, that needs to be protected, right? If you create music through AI without permission and then you commercialize it, that's where the issue comes up, right? And I think this is an issue that needs to be resolved not just by one industry or one company, but the whole ecosystem, right? From the government to the private sector to the tech company, and for the enabler as well. So I think it's just being cautious. If the question is hopeful, of course we're very hopeful. I think we also see AI can also create a new revenue stream for us in terms of licensing, for example. So there's a lot of opportunity, but it's just that we need to be cautious as well. I think every technology always have this plus and minus, right? You always have to be cautious about the bad use of technology. Same thing with AI. And I think people will actually get to know that. Company will actually learn to do that, and government will also be able to set up the regulations to make it more safe and more usable for everyone.
Ratih, finally.
Fine. Okay, from my perspective, I think I'm more positive and more hopeful what AI can do in the entertainment, especially OTT industry. We see it as a creative collaborator. I guess AI's code ethic is they're not to replace human, it's just to augment our intelligence. So we've been using AI to do so. And moving forward, fast forward in Vidio in the next 5 to 10 years, we might be able to build our own tool that can use AI to generate post-production capabilities. For example, like what Runway as a startup company is doing with Lionsgate. They actually use visual effects post-production and create those really realistic environment that can help produce content. We're not there yet, but I'm hopeful that we can be there in the nearest future. And then aside from that, I guess AI has been really helpful in our process and also working practices. And we have used AI a lot to streamline our businesses and then reduce repetitive and manual work while the humans scale up and use our human cognitive and emotional capability to add more impact on top of the AI.
More time for inspiration. All right, thank you so much, guys, for your time. I think this concludes the session. It was a brilliant session. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you very much once again, Donald. Round of applause, and let's take a break.